Hello, everyone. My name is Omar Kashad. I'm one of the Adult Services Librarians here at the Carroll Stream Public Library. Thank you for coming out here today. We are out here for the April 2021 Job Search Club, so it's a pleasure to meet everyone. Again, my name is Omar Kashad, and I'm one of the Adult Services Librarians at the Carroll Stream Public Library. Now, today's session for the Job Search Club is on entrepreneurial resources. And I wouldn't blame you if you thought to yourself, well, Omar, that's a little bit outside the box. I mean, everything we've done in the Job Search Club so far this year has been on your more traditional job search resources, like how to do a resume, how to improve, how to do continuing education to build your skill set, and also about, how to do research on companies before you have an interview with them and things along those lines. And really the reason why I bring this up is it's just entrepreneurship is just maybe another avenue that you might be considering, if you're looking to re-enter the workforce, or maybe you already have a job, but you're thinking of doing being an entrepreneur on the side. And that's what's sometimes called a sidepreneur is what it's called. That's basically you still have your you still have your main job, that's what pays the income, but on the side you do this business because maybe you want to be your own boss, or maybe you see a need somewhere for a particular thing that you like to do. So really today's session is both for those who are thinking about going into entrepreneurship and those who have already started along that path. Now, the thing I wanted to tell you is that a lot of the resources that we're going to be talking today, or just about all of them, require a library card. Now, if you live in Carroll Stream, you are eligible for a library card. And if you live in incorporated Carroll Stream, that library card is available at no cost to you, no additional cost. Now, if you don't live in Carroll Stream, but you do have a business and it is located in Carroll Stream, you are eligible for you are eligible for what's called a business account. Now, that means that you get access to our digital resources as well as to all of our print resources. And again, you can come into the library and talk to the circulation department, and as long as you provide proof of that your business is in Carroll Stream, as well as proof that you're the one, proof of ownership, you can get a digital library card, or sorry, I mean a business account. Now I keep saying digital library card. Well, what's that about? Well, the thing is though, is because of COVID, it's possible if you don't want to come into the library to get a physical library card, that you can apply for a digital library card, both as an individual as well as if your business is in Carroll Stream. That digital library card will not give you access to our print resources, but it will give you access to all the digital resources that I'll be talking about today. Now, you can apply for a digital library card straight through our website by going to About and Get a Digital Library Card. You can then read through all of this information, and then you'll go down here to click here to register for a library card. Now, when you apply for the digital library card, if you're an individual, you just put in your name and your address, and then you'll be emailed a library card number. If your business is in Carroll Stream, but you don't live in Carroll Stream, put your name as the person, and then put your business's address as the address. And then at some point down the road, for individuals or also businesses, I believe that the library will be contacting you about converting your digital card into an actual physical card that again gives you access to both our print collection and our digital collection as well. So that's an option for you if you don't feel comfortable coming out to the library. Although, in case you weren't aware, we are actually open these days. We are open for grab and go services. And basically what that means is you can come in and you can look at our print collection, or look at our DVDs, our music, videos, games, so on and so forth. And you can, again, we don't have any seating available or any computers available, but we are set up, as it says right here, our building is open to visitors. We're open for grab and go, and pretty much during regular hours. We're just currently not open on Sundays. But let's go ahead and access our digital resources then, specifically those for entrepreneurship. So we're going to access them by going to where it says Learn here, and then All Topics. To specifically get access to our business resources, we can do that in one of three ways. The first way is we can simply scroll down the page here to where it says Business and Company Information, and we can click that once, and then all of our resources will appear below it. Alternatively, what we can do is we can click here where it says Alpha List. We'll click that. or sorry, that's actually, this is a listing of all of our databases by their name. So in the future, if you know of a resource that you like to use a lot, you can directly navigate through this topic list. For example, here's a business source Premier, which I will be covering in just a little bit later on today. But actually, we're going to actually want to click here where it says topics. And when we click topics, these are all of our databases by topic. And we're simply going to click right here where it says business and company information. That's another way to get to our business resources, and it's broken up by main topic as well as some smaller topics. To get our resources to appear below it, you actually have to double click in this instance, and then they will appear below it. The fastest way though to get to our business resources is simply to go up to your address bar here and type in cslibrary.org/business. And I typed that in pretty quickly because I've been there so many times, but basically you're then taken back to the exact same page where we were. And again, I'm just going to double click on this bar here where it says business and company information, and our resources will appear below it. Now, I'm not going to cover all of these resources. I'm really going to only cover about a handful of them. But basically, this is a combination of both databases, which is basically collections of information that the library pays for on your behalf that you can now access. Whereas if you didn't have your library card, you would have to pay to access this information. So again, another benefit of using your library. But some of these are also outside websites. For example, we have right here the Illinois Department of Employment Security. We also have the Edgar Database. That is for SEC filings. When companies file their annual reports to the SEC, Security and Exchanges Commission, if they're a publicly traded company, you can find those reports there. It just gives you more information about that company. You know, how well they're doing financially, what are their goals for the future, how have their previous goals, have they met them, so on and so forth. Again, only publicly traded companies need to file with the SEC. Private companies don't, but you should be able to find an initial filing when this company was initially, even if it's a private company, you should be able to find an initial filing at least when they first incorporated. But anyway, I'm going to scroll down here to the resource that I think you'll probably want to access the most as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, and that is right here, and it's called the Small Business Reference Center. When I click on this, I'm automatically taken to the resource. Now, I've actually skipped a step at this point because I'd already done it before I started the meeting. If you are at home or anywhere that's not in the library or connected to our wireless internet, our Wi-Fi, you will be prompted between when I click that and this screen to put in your library card and your PIN number. You will put in your library card as one long number, and then the PIN number is usually going to be the last 4 digits of the phone number that's on file here. Now, if you've forgotten your PIN and you just can't figure it out, go ahead and give us a call. We should be able to reset your PIN for you, and then you should be able to get access to these digital resources. So again, you'll need your library card on you when you're doing this and your PIN number. Generally speaking, I believe that with cookies on your browser, I believe that this should stay, like, you won't have to type it in every single time, but I wouldn't be surprised if this only held daily, and basically tomorrow you're going to have to put in your library card and your PIN number again to access our digital resources that we are paying for on your behalf. So here's the Small Business Reference Center, and I'm actually going to navigate this from the bottom up. So the first thing to be aware of is who's making this product. Well, if we go to the very bottom, it says copyright 2021 EBSCO Industries. That will be important because I'm going to be talking about at least 4 EBSCO databases in today's course. So some of the navigation will be very similar across the different products. Some of it will be a little bit different, but if you're used to one EBSCO resource, you'll be used to them all. Now, starting here at the bottom, we have Browse Popular Sources. These are a series of ebooks that will help you in all aspects of your business. These ebooks are written by the Nolo company. If you're not familiar with Nolo, Nolo views themselves as they tout themselves as legal books for non-lawyers. So they have a lot of really good advice for starting up in the case of businesses, how to start up your business. For example, here's the Women's Small Business Startup Kit. You know, how to do fundraising that's effective, because they branch out a little bit. How to do business deductions, you know, consultant and independent contractor agreements. Again, I'm clicking this arrow right here to navigate across the different resources. You know, incorporating your business is here. The employer's legal handbook is here, which is a good one. Tax savvy for small business, so on and so forth. Working with independent contractors, patents, copyright, and trademarks. Again, there's just so much here. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and just click one of these just for demonstration purposes of what you'll see when you access one of these ebooks. And I'm going to choose the Form Your Own Limited Liability Company. So when I click that, I'm now taken to this screen where this is a PDF, and it basically looks like a screenshot, basically a scan of the book. The thing I want to tell you about the NOLO books is that while these are available digitally through the Small Business Reference Center, as well as some of our EBSCO resources, if you prefer to read a book and you have an actual physical card that will give you access to our print collection, we have quite a collection of NOLO books in the library, and any that we don't have, we should be able to request for you from another library. So if you're reading through this and you really want access to our print collection NOLO books, by all means, you can either place a hold in our catalog, or you can just give us a call, and we should be able to, again, request any NOLO books that you may be interested in. So just doing a little bit of navigation here. On the left-hand side, this is sort of our navigation screen. Now, the thing with this, though, is so we're in the preface of the book, your LLC companion, where it says running a business is an exciting experience. It may mean pursuing a lifelong passion, investing in a creative opportunity, or just formalizing an already flourishing venue. So, you know, I hope that's true for you when you run your business someday, or if you already are running your business. But here on the left-hand navigation side, this is how we can quickly jump to different chapters. Now, the thing to know about the navigation through this product is that they list all the forms first, and then they go into the chapters, which is why right above it, we see the sections that we're in. Well, we're currently, it's kind of hard to see, but it's currently grayed out. This is section 6 through section 10. Even though we're only on the preface, this is why that we are in section 610, even though this is technically the beginning of the book. That's because, again, EBSCO's, the way they organize this is all the forms in this ebook will be listed first. So if I click sections 1 through 5 right next to it, again, you can see, again, more forms that you can click on, or I can jump to section 11 to 15. Again, we see more chapters here. To navigate to the other sections, I click these 2 arrows, which says the next 15 chapters. And finally, there's chapter 8, and then a bunch of appendices, and there's 3 appendices here as well. These numbers next to them correspond to the page numbers. So again, just something to be aware of. They list all the forms on chapter 1 as page 1, but again, just know that just because this says 6 of 10, you could still be, again, on 6 through 10, although, sorry, 11 through 15. Again, we see chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, section 6 through 10 in this particular instance is where the chapters begin. These numbers will change based on how many forms there are, as well as, so just know that, you know, you may be in section 11 through 15, and even there is where chapter 1 starts. Now, to go into the actual meat of the actual reading it, on the left-hand side here, we have the page navigation for this particular chapter. We're on page 1. If we want to go to page 2, we can simply scroll down and then see what's on page 2. And if there was a page 3, there would be information there. The last page of any of these chapters is always talking about the legal information. Copyright of Form Your Own Limited Liability Corporation is the property of NOLO, and its content may be copied or emailed, so on and so forth. Again, you can read this on your own time, but it's just basically laying out the legality of you using this product. But again, it is an ebook for you to view. To navigate also from page to page, I can simply go up here to where it says 1, and I could put in 2, jump right down to it. I could put in 3 of 3, so on and so forth. I can increase the zoom if I want to. Again, this is, if you've ever read a PDF before, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I can press 100, 110, 150 to zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and press 100 to go back to where I was. I could, if I'm on a tablet or not, you know, I could choose fit to page. This is a lot smaller, but, you know, just know that it's there if you want it to. If I click it a second time, it then expands to be the full width of the page, in which case I'm at 118% zoom. Again, I'll just type in 100, but again, you can click this once to fill the whole, to see the whole length, fill this space, or you can click it a second time to again get it to fill the width. I'm not going to click on this, but it's also possible to rotate the document. That may be helpful if you're reading this on a tablet on your web browser. You know, if it may be easier to read it if you rotate it, possibly. Again, I'm not going to say that for certain. Now going to the right, we have the download option here. You can't download the whole ebook, but you can download this chapter, and then you can navigate to another chapter and download that as well if you wanted it to. These would be separate files, but again, it's just it's there if you need it to. The print option is here. You can go ahead and print this document as well, print this chapter, I should say. You can print that. Again, just to have an offline version with you if you want. Now, the other thing is sometimes as you're reading these NOLO books, they might have a chart that spans or a table that spans two pages. If you want to see a 2-page view, you click the 3 dots that are right here. And I'm not aware of any annotations, but it's checked on by default. But anyway, if you click the 2-page view, now you will see that now there's a 2-page view. Now you can simply scroll left and right to go from the page for this page to the next. And again, that's helpful again if you're looking at a situation where there's a table or a chart that goes across 2 pages. And then it's a little bit easier than having to look at the half the chart here and then scroll down to the next page to see the other half. So again, you can choose the 2-page view if you want. If you want to go back to how it was, simply go here and simply click 2-page view, and now it will be unchecked and you'll be back again to the 1-page view. The right-hand side navigation options that are here, it's basically similar to before. You know, you can print, you could email this to someone if you wanted to. I'm not going to cover add to folder, or you could cite it if you wanted it to. You could also export this, and then finally you could permalink it. Permalink, what that is if you knew somebody in your work, if you knew somebody who also had access to the Small Business Reference Center, you would want to include the permalink rather than this link up here, because sometimes when you share this link that's up here at the top, it's sort of a dynamic link, meaning that if I gave this to somebody else, even though they'd access the Small Business Reference Center, it may not work. It may say your session is timed out or something like that. The permalink, however, would not do that. When you click the permalink, this is what you want to copy and paste, the one that's right here, which is now shown up, and then you share that with somebody. And then again, this link is a static link, meaning they should be able to get access the resource that you were seeing. And you can tell when you pause this, if you want to pause this at home, that these links are different from what's up here and what's down here. I'm just going to click permalink again to get it to go away. So that's an example of an ebook, and all the ebooks in the Small Business Reference Center or across the different EBSCO products are going to look very similar to this. So once you know how to navigate one of them, you'll know how to navigate all of them. I'm going to click the back button here to go back to where I was, and now I'm in the Small Business Reference Center. Again, those are the ebooks. Now up here on the right-hand side, which is also kind of helpful, is they have startup information by state. If I click browse by state, this might load. I've had some okay, good, it worked. I was having problems earlier. I think my firewall on my internet was blocking this, but you should be able to see this in most cases. I know you can see it inside the library. The Small Business Reference Center state small business startup guides are actually pretty helpful. We're going to navigate down to Illinois, and I'm not going to talk too much about what's here, but basically when I click that, I'm taken to the record. This is basically all the all the like bits and bobs of what's here. For example, the source, the subject terms, geographic terms, so on and so forth. I would recommend looking at the subject terms if you ever see a screen like this, because this is basically, you could look up these subject terms later on, and you could find more similar information. But to actually look at the article itself, I need to go over here to where it says PDF full text. I'm going to click on that. And again, this looks similar to what we had just seen with the ebooks. So again, this is here's all the pages navigation here on the left, and then here's the actual guide information here. And there's a lot of actually a good wealth of information here about how Illinois had an estimated 12,741,080 residents in 2018. And then it talks more about the median income, and more information. And then they've got a lot of good business quick facts here in this section, as well as information specifically pertaining to Illinois small business facts. This information is from 2018, which is, usually most retrospectives of this kind will always be a year or two old. Obviously, a lot has changed because of the coronavirus, but again, it's just a good snapshot of how things were during a period of normalcy. So for example, the number of small employers in Illinois was back in 2016 was 251,837 businesses. That is a lot, but it just shows that there's a lot of people out there starting their own businesses or they're small employers. Scrolling down a little bit, which is nice on the second pages, they talk about general small business resources. For example, the U.S. Small Business Administration is here, otherwise known as the SBA. SBA has a lot of good informational advice for small business owners, and they also provide small business grants too that you can look out for. So if you're ever looking for grants specifically pertaining to small businesses, try and look on the SBA's website. And then there's information here on employment statistics, small business development centers, WorkNet centers. I had a very good presentation done by, I'm not sure if they're related or not, WorkNet DuPage, and they provided some good information for job seekers. I don't know that they're focused on businesses per se, but Illinois WorkNet Center, however, is illinoisworknet.com. Again, more business resources, talks about how to get licenses and permits, financing, small business support and development organizations, local small business development information, resources, lists various city websites. They also mentioned some libraries here. I would say though, if you're looking for a good business, for a local area library that does a lot of good work for small business owners, whether you live in Carroll Stream or not, would be to try and reach out to the Naperville Public Library and their Naper Launch program. I know some small business owners in Carroll Stream in the area who reach out to them, and then they provide a lot of good business programming as well. So again, I'd encourage you, if you're looking for more library specific information, reach out to Naper Launch. Although I will say though, if you're looking for small business mentoring, SCORE is a good place to reach out to SCORE. They have different chapters in the area, but they provide, basically there are retired business owners or retired executives who can provide mentoring to small business owners. And again, that's SCORE, and our local chapter is the Fox River Valley SCORE, or possibly just Fox Valley SCORE. So I'd say, look them up too. It's a wealth of good advice. And so, yeah, I'd say reach out to either Naper Launch or SCORE if you really need like business counseling or general business advice. And then again, I'm just not going to go too much further with this, but again, just more things to be aware of. And I'm just going to navigate back to the Small Business Reference Center. Now, going up a little bit further, we see the Browse by Category option. This is especially helpful for business owners, especially if you're just getting started, or if you've never run a business before. For example, I've never run a business before, but I'm always interested in learning more about how that works. You can click any of one of these major topics. So for example, business areas is a good one, covers accounting, buying a business, closing a business, expanding a business, and clicking any of these will expand out to even more topics. And so let's just say like accounting methods, for instance. When I click that, in this case, I'm brought to a bunch of articles covering accounting methods, which you can read. Click PDF full text to actually look at the article itself, or click the header here just to view the bibliographic information if you want to. And then there's some filtering options here on the left, which I'm not going to cover right now. So that's just accounting, for instance. go back to where we were. Industry information by small business type is good because again, you can look through these different ones. And then like, I'm just going to click advertising agency just for demonstration purposes, because when you click on this, you can either look at articles on advertising agencies, or you can even look at industry specific information to the advertising agency field. So if this loads here, again, there's a lot of good reports here, even from 2021 from the Barnes reports on the advertising agencies industry. So maybe if you're thinking about, you know, you've decided that you want to go into this industry, well, you want to do your research and see, well, how healthy is this industry right now? Do they think that there's room for expansion and growth in this particular industry if you want? But the one I'm not going to go into business basics is also helpful, especially if you never started a business. Goes in a lot of good stuff. You can see here some of the topics: coaching an employee, marketing your business, interviewing a candidate, hiring employees, reacting to a changing market. Certainly we saw that because of the coronavirus. This may not be that specific, but it's still good information to have from a basic viewpoint standpoint. And then starting businesses for $1,000 or less. So again, you don't have to start a business on a lot of money if you don't, if that's your situation. And I'm gonna click the back button here. And then the last one I'll show you for here is, oops, sorry. I'm back to the ebook. I'm going to click the Small Business Reference Center or New Search. Will take you back to the main page. The final one I'll show you is the one you would definitely want to read if you want to read one thing on this website. I would say the Startup Kit and Business Plans one is a good ebook, is a good guide to start with. You can read, writing a business plan, cash flow forecast, so on and so forth. Those are good ones to look at. But if we just click the Small Business Startup Kit, we're taken to the Small Business Startup Kit NOLO Guide, which we do have the print version in the library. So again, if you read through this and you really want to access the print version, please let us know. Again, it starts out with a lot of forms. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a glitch at the moment where if this PDF full text says 1 kilobyte, the form will be blank. We are aware of this. We are hoping to work on getting this fixed, but just know if it says 1 kilobyte, it's going to be blank. But if you scroll a bit further down and see something with more than 1 kilobyte, for example, it says 105 here, then the form will not be blank. Sorry, I clicked that by accident. But then the other thing is, like, if you want to actually filter this by chapter, I found the easiest way, because you're going to have to click through different sections just to get to chapter 1, again, because they list all the forms first. I found if you go over here to the right-hand side and click where it says relevance, if you click author, it, generally speaking, sorts everything by chapter. I'm not saying that'd be true for all of them, but I found that it works in this particular instance. So if I go ahead and click the PDF full text here, again, this is really good because, as it says right here, you don't have an MBA, you've never taken a business class, you spent your college years studying something completely non-business related, and now you find you're thinking about going into business for yourself, maybe as a photographer or something else, and you're trying to figure out how are you going to make it work. Well, that's why this guide is especially for you. So I would encourage you, please, if you are interested in starting your own business or you've started your own business already, consider reading the Small Business Startup Kit. And that's really, really to your advantage to read all the wealth of information that's here. And again, navigation is entirely the same. The only two things I'll add is if you click this arrow box, which is up here in the top left, this part will collapse. You can do the same thing here too. And that gives you just a little bit more reading space. You click the arrows again to make them both come back. So that's the last I'll show you in that regard. And then finally, the final thing I'll cover for the Small Business Reference Center, or almost a small thing. There's one other small thing I'll cover after this, but basically here's the search box, which is right here in the middle. You can search any number of topics that you want. You can see some that I've already searched here previously through my autofill. But what you can do is, you can search entrepreneurship, for example, and you'll see a wealth of good entrepreneurship information here, just anything to do with entrepreneurship. In this case, when we're looking at this is from Entrepreneur Magazine, but this is from September 2008. So, that may not be as helpful, but again, you have these filtering options here on the left, and you can also go up here to where it says author, and you can instead choose, that may have been because I switched it to author back in that previous NOLO book, but if I click date newest on this options here, now you've got the most current article. For example, here's something from Leadership Briefings from April 2021, in which case it says why leaders need to think like entrepreneurs. Now, again, if you see PDF full text, you will be able to read the article. If you don't see that, for example, let's see what happens when we click VFA Builds Up Businesses. In some cases, what we don't have is the article through this resource. Instead, we just know that this article exists, and it was written in what looks to be Crane's Cleveland Business. Just know that through this resource, you may not be able to access all the articles, but you may be able to at least know that it exists and know the citation exists and see if there are other avenues for being able to read this. In which case, when it comes to Crane's, we may have another resource that will allow us to view the Cleveland business. But just know, again, if you don't see PDF full text below it, or barring that, HTML full text, you won't be able to read the article. The difference between HTML full text and PDF full text is that HTML, if I click that, it's just the text. There may not be any charts or graphics associated with this, but if we click the PDF full text option, you'll see that this is going to look a whole lot different. As you can see, there's this whole graphic here, a rather provocative image of a brain hooked to a tailpipe. But there's, again, this full article, and this is what PDF full text will make it look like, as if it was scanned from the actual newspaper, from the actual journal or the magazine or book. Now, this is part of Entrepreneurship Magazine. So if you wanted to see, well, what else does Entrepreneurship have, the magazine, up here at the top, you can click Publications. And then here lists all the journals alphabetically. As you're reading them, for example, using ABA Bank Marketing, we see that they have Bibliographic Records from July 1993 to October 2015. And in this case, they have full text from that whole date range as well. That's what the second line is telling us. And we can also see below it, in addition, they have PDF full text and HTML full text. So you have both in that instance, and some will be PDF full text, some may just say HTML full text, and some may say neither. So just something to be aware of. Again, if you're looking through the publications, at a glance, you'll know what's available for a particular journal at a glance. Bibliographic Records, if there are any differences between these two, or if there was no mentioning of full text, it just means that they have records that these articles were there. You just won't be able to read them through the Small Business Reference Center. But I'm just going to go ahead and type in entrepreneur, because Entrepreneur Magazine. Click Browse. Here it is, Entrepreneur Magazine. They've got articles from August 2003 to present. I'm just going to go ahead and click where it says Entrepreneur. And when I do that, I'm taken to the record. And here on the left-hand side or right-hand side over here, we can see all of the years. If I click 2021, I can see the March issue is already here. If I click that, then I can see all of the articles here. And again, I could choose either PDF full text or HTML full text to read it. And again, all of the download options, everything else, again, is available there. And it's just, again, a good way of browsing through Entrepreneur Magazine without even having to leave your home or your business. And the final thing I'll show to you is this Business Videos and Images section, which is also over here on the right. When I go and click on that, this might seem a little like, well, what happened? You're now in the video search engine for Small Business Reference Center. You can look at these options, decide if you want to click them or not. The only one I would say don't unclick is the one that says we're in the Small Business and Entrepreneurship videos, and that's how it's limiting our results. But in this case, I'm going to use legal as my search term. Click search. And as you can see, like this thing, there's either images or videos. So again, it's sort of an image and a video search. It's not something you have to do, but if you're more of a visual learner and you really want to see, what images and visuals are out there, you can. Again, now it's by date, but again, you could change it by title or by relevance. And again, in this case, here on the left-hand side, for one of our filtering options, it says Image Quick View Collection or Small Business and Entrepreneurship Videos. If I uncheck this top checkmark box, then I'll just be left with videos. And they also have an HTML full text, which should be the transcript of the video. So again, that's the Small Business Reference Center. Again, a wealth of information here for you if you're looking at just starting your business, or if you've already started it. And now we're just going to navigate back to our business resources. So I'm going to scroll down now. I'm going to double click here. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Gale Virtual Library, which has full text reference books. So if I go and click on this, I'm now taken to our Gale ebooks. This is different than an EBSCO product. But basically what I can do is I can now navigate down here on the left-hand side to where it says business. And if I go ahead and click on that, what's nice here is I'm not going to there's a lot of ebooks here. I'm only going to really talk about 2 of them. But the first one is this business plans handbook. This is really good if you're looking to start if you really want to have a business make a business plan for your business. What is a business plan? Well, first of all, you can read this to find out, or you could read the NOLO business plans book in the Small Business Reference Center. But basically a business plan is just a way of you deciding, what is your business going to encompass? What is it you're looking to do, and things along those lines. And it's basically like, it's not, generally speaking, too long, but basically it's also a way not only for you to focus your business, but also, like, let's say you had investors who wanted to invest in your business. Well, if they read your business plan, they'll have an idea of where you're coming from as far as your business is concerned. The business plan can also, again, help you focus your business on what it is you're trying to accomplish, and realize that if other stuff, this is called creep, comes in where you're doing more and more outside of that, you could decide to do one of 2 things. Either A, realize that it's not what your business is set up for and how you originally envisioned it, and no longer do those things, or realize that, what, these are important things that we're doing, and we're going to add these elements to our business plan. But as you can see here, there's different volumes for the business plans handbook. I would encourage you to read older volumes as well, because the sample business plans they have in this business plans handbook will vary from volume to volume. So I'll just click on the business plans handbook. Again, learn more about it. This is the 44th volume of this, basically over the years. If I want to search within this publication, I can do so here on the right. If I wanted to view the ebook, I can just click view ebook. But as I start to go down here, I can see, I can start with the front cover. Again, this is just broken up by area. Front cover, copyright page, introduction, ATV specialty with this little arrow pointing to the right. If I click on that, it opens up, and now I have a series of different sample businesses where they have business plans for these businesses. In this case, I'm just, for example, disaster planning service. Unfortunately, we saw that all too well over COVID because of the pandemic. But I'm going to choose cooking lessons business. As I click on this is full text, which is actually pretty good from a readability standpoint. Also, because it's full text, you can choose the listen option, and then actually the text to speech will work its way down and actually read the full text option. And then I can make the font size bigger or smaller. I could also translate it into certain other languages. And then going over here, I could send this particular business plan to Google Drive, OneDrive. I could email it. I could download it. We saw that with the EBSCO database, Small Business Reference Center, or I could print it. And there's some more information here, other resources through this product that they think you might be interested in, like small business trends, small business development, small business software, and their associated products. And then there's also related subjects, which you can click to learn more about, like cooking, for instance. Now, up here at the top, though, the one thing, a lot of these options are the same. The only thing I'll call your attention to is this one here where it says Book View. When I click Book View, this again is going to look like similar to in the EBSCO product. Again, this is a full page scan of the article, so of the book. So this basically just looks exactly like it would if you actually had this book in front of you. And I'm not certain if this is in print or not, but at least it is available digitally. So going back here with the top, again, these navigation options, very similar to EBSCO, the Small Business Reference Center. We're on page 30 of 276. I could type in different number here and click go and go there. Here's increase the zoom, zoom in, zoom out. I could also, again, fit options, fit to width, fit to length. Again, clicking that, you can see now this is expanded to be full screen. I can click this. Now it goes back to sort of how it was. Again, here's the 2-page view option. Again, helpful if that's how you prefer to read it. I can click it again and go back to the 1-page option. And I'm not going to click on it because I because you'll probably still be able to see it, but basically if you click this full screen option over here, this PDF will expand to be full screen. I guess I got nothing to lose by clicking it. Now you can see it's full screen. And now this again, click the width option. Now it might be easier to read. I'm going to click the arrows, and if I wanted to navigate from one page to the next, that's where these arrows here in the top left come into play. I click the left button. Now I've gone out to the next page. Well, because I've done the 2-page option, I jumped back to page 29. Now I'm back on page 30. But again, this is just a sample business plan for you to read. And again, I'd really recommend you look through it. It'll help you know more about what a business plan is, what some of the areas that it encompasses. And again, the more you plan this out ahead of time, or even if you started your business, it may help you better understand and think about your business itself. I can either click this 4 arrows here to go away from full screen, or I believe what happens is there was that X there. That X would likely do the same thing, but I'm just going to click the air boxes right here. Now I'm back to where I was. Again, cooking lessons business inside the business plans handbook. Again, I highly encourage you to read that if you have the opportunity to do so. I'm going to click up here where it says Gale ebooks to go back to where I was, and I'm going to click business again. The only other resource that I'll call your attention to is the small business source book, which is right here. I'm going to go and click on that. The small business source book is good because it's got a variety of, as it says, it's designed to facilitate the startup development and growth of specific small businesses, as well as similar listings for general and small business topics. Entries are provided on a state-by-state basis. Also included are relevant U.S. federal government agencies and branch offices. So in this case, this is a multi-volume set. Rather than have the volumes broken up by year. So if you click on this drop-down menu here, you can jump to different areas if you want to. But basically, going down here, so they've got a lot of good. So basically, the business industries, I should say, are broken up by alphabetically down here at the bottom. In which case, we only got A through D in volume 1, and then we'll see the rest under the other few volumes. I'll just go and click volume 2. So here we've got G through L. So if I click this one for grocery store, I'm just going to click on that just so you can see an example of what information it has. And I'm going to quickly jump to the book view as just another way to demonstrate what this actually looks like and what this information contains. But basically, a grocery, it's got some information here. It's got a good article in Entrepreneur Magazine, no less. So good news, because you have access to Gale Virtual Reference Library and you have access to the Small Business Reference Center. You could go back and you could read this article because it was published in November 2007, and our coverage starts from 2003. You could read Local Flavor and Entrepreneur Magazine from back then, and it might have some helpful information for you. And then finally, they go on to other sections, associations and other organizations. It might be helpful to look up these organizations, especially if one's more local to you for grocers. They have some directories as well. And they've got some reference works. These reference works are about, just stuff related to the grocery industry. So again, these are, again, we might have access to these through the library, and whether or not we could get access to them, we could easily look it up for you, but just don't ask for all of these at once. But if there was one particular article you liked, you could contact us. We could see if maybe we could find it for you, whether through one of our other products, if you want to search those as well on your own time, or I'll see if maybe we get it from another library. But again, just a variety of good articles here. I'm not going to really go much further than this. But again, it's just a wealth of information and resources. Going beyond that, they've got access, ideas for statistical sources that you can use, as well as the associated price, good trade periodicals specifically to the grocery industry. You could go back to the Small Business Reference Center, or actually 2 of the other resources I'm going to cover in a moment, and see if maybe some of these publications are in there. It says video cassettes. So at least, this exists. Again, this is only on VHS. They mentioned some trade shows and conventions, good stuff to know. And finally, they mentioned some consultants as well, because I believe a couple of years have passed since this was initially written. Again, just go back and re-verify do an internet search and see if these places still exist, but chances are a good few of them might. So again, that's in the Small Business Source Book. Again, there's not much more to cover than that. You could read the rest of those on your own time. And I'm just going to navigate now back to where we were, cslibrary.org/business. And again, just click here twice. So the next two that I'm gonna cover are very similar in nature. One of them is Business Source Premier, and then the next one is ABI Inform. Business Source Premier it gives you a lot of access to a variety of trade publications, similar to the Small Business Reference Center does. I'm not too familiar, unfortunately, with what the overlap is, but just know if you're looking for newspaper articles, journal articles, so on and so forth, I would recommend using this resource as well as ABI Inform, but just to show you what I mean, that there is some duplicated coverage. I'm going to type in entrepreneur as my search term. And in this case, you know, this searching looks very similar to how it was in the Small Business Reference Center. Again, all the articles are here in the center. Filtering options are here on the left. In this case, they've included some video options down here in the middle, and then you can scroll down and see what's here. So for example, so when you're reading one of these, first of all, here's the title of the article: Launching While Female, Smashing the System That Holds Women Entrepreneurs Back. You see that this was in Publishers Weekly back in 2020, volume, issue, pages, so on and so forth. And then it lists a little bit of an abstract, a one-sentence description of what this is. And then there's HTML full text and PDF full text. Again, very similar to the Small Business Reference Center. Click PDF full text to view it as if it was a scan of that article, as well as HTML full text just to read the text. Because this is in Publishers Weekly, this is actually a book review. But again, you may read through that book review and decide you want that book, and contact us. We're a library. We'd be happy to see if we can get it for you. Another good one I'm just going to cover a little bit further down is Entrepreneurs of Color Are Making the Pandemic Pivot. Really good article for you to read if you're whether you're an entrepreneur of color or not, but especially if you are, then you may want to read through this. It was an article we can see right here in Time Magazine from September 21st, 2020. Again, PDF full text, HTML full text, you can read the article. And again, if we go up to publications up here at the top, as you can see, there's more here than what was in Small Business Reference Center. Although in that case, in the Small Business Reference Center, those journals that they listed in some way or another would pertain specifically to small businesses. This just covers all sorts of businesses. But again, it's just another good place where you can read through a variety of resources. And again, you can click publications to again view, to do your searches. What's also nice up here at the top is next to publications, they have this company profiles option, in which case you could look up industry reports on specific businesses. So I used to work at Best Buy, so I'll just use them as my search. I would say when you're doing your search, maybe change this from alphabetical to match any words, because if the company doesn't begin with Best Buy, for example, I tried Disney and Disney didn't give me any results because the name of the company is Walt Disney. So that's why you want to choose this radio button from alphabetical to match any words. I would recommend that if you're not typing in the specific name of the company, if you don't know what it is. Now, they wouldn't have access to every company that's out there, but there's some very good market line reports on different companies. Again, I'm not going to read this, but it's a whole company profile, and this is published in January 15th of 2021. And again, it's just a really nice breakdown of Best Buy. And even looking through this, you know, you may get an idea of, you know, what would a potential market line report say about your company. Now, they probably wouldn't profile you if you're just a small company, but you would know some of this stuff that if you get bigger and bigger, you know, what are some things people would think about? Like, for example, SWOT. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats to your business? So on and so forth. So again, this looks identical to how it did in the Small Business Reference Center. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about this. Again, you've got your arrows here on the left. In this case, these options are a little bit different because, you know, we're reading a market line report and not an actual book or a journal. But again, all the options here are largely the same. And again, you can download it if you want to, send it to, email it to people, etc. here on the right. And again, jumping pages, zooming in and out, so on and so forth. Again, I'm not going to go much more into this. Again, there's also, you could search by images, indices, So, and other options. So again, that's really all I really have to say about this one. There's not much to say. Again, it's just a variety of trade publications, journals, you name it, available through the Business Source Premier. I'm going to click this to go back to where I was. And again, you can also do searches again from this main search box to the bottom. I'm not going to go to advanced search. I mean, I'll just click it briefly just to demonstrate what it looks like. But again, you've got a variety of options you can change here to try and limit your results, because don't be surprised if you just type in a word or two and you get hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of results. But you can, again, you can choose, like, you know, again, you can limit it if you want. Like if you knew what the code was for the industry you're interested in, you can type it in here. DUNS, I believe, is similar to the NAICS, although I'm not certain of that. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of term. You also can check what you're looking for as far as images go. Again, just so many options here, which I don't have time to cover. But again, I would say, yeah, if you want to limit your results, if you don't want to filter them on the left-hand side when you've actually done a search, you want to do that filtering ahead of time. This again is where the advanced search comes into play. And again, just something to think about. Again, you can click basic search, go back to where you were. So that's really all I have to say about Business Source Premier. I'm going to navigate out back to where we were. Now I'll talk about a similar product called ABI Inform. ABI Inform is powered not by EBSCO, but by ProQuest. This is helpful because because if I click where it says databases, I can search not only ABI Inform, which has business management and trade, scholarly and trade journal articles, dissertations, market reports, and a lot more. I can also search the Chicago Tribune, going from, first of all, the first database, Chicago Tribune, they have full text articles from 1985 to today. So you could read today's newspaper, Chicago Tribune, if you wanted to. Again, full text articles, so no graphics or images. But again, you saw an article in the Tribune. If you went to the Tribune website, don't be surprised if they'd let you read maybe a couple articles, or else say, guess what? You want to read the rest of it? Pay us money. You don't have to do that with your library card. Now we can give you access to the Tribune. There's also a coronavirus research database, but also the ProQuest historical database newspaper, Chicago Tribune, allows you to search back from 1850 to 1997. And then finally, there's the publicly available content database. If you don't want to be searching the Tribune when you're doing your searches, all you have to do is just uncheck these, leaving just ABI Inform, and then you click Use Selected Databases, and now you're just solely in ABI Inform, as it says up here at the top. I'm just going to type in entrepreneur just to, just for the sake of doing a search. Entrepreneur. And then these are suggested searches below it. If you search entrepreneur and entrepreneurship, that means it's just going to search for both of those terms, but I'm just going to say entrepreneur. Again, 1 million results. That is a lot. We could do the advanced search to filter it, or else we can, again, just choose different article choices here on the right. One that might be important is location. You may want to say what was published in the United States, although occasionally you will get stuff outside of that. But again, that's here. This is sorted by relevance up here on the left, so you could change that to most recent first. In which case, looking at this, what a piece of work is AI, or artificial intelligence. You can see right here, down here at the bottom below the author and information. Again, this is a full text article. If I click on that, again, this is going to look, we've seen full text already in this presentation, but as you can see, it's got full text in it. It will try and highlight the word that we have been searching for, entrepreneur. You can see it's highlighted. If you want to turn that off, just click hide highlighting up here on the right here. And then you click show highlighting to get it to reappear. You can save this as a PDF if you want to. Saving it as a PDF is basically just going to look exactly like the full text. It's not going to make it suddenly appear as like if this was actually scanned out of the Business Lawyer for Chicago. But it's a way of saving it and downloading it. You could cite it, you can email it, you could print it. Again, we saw this, it's very similar to EBSCO. You can click your all options option to see all save options. And again, here's the permalink up here at the top. Click it, they'll copy to your clipboard. Again, more options here, which again, I'm not going to go that much into for the sake of today. And again, that's just one example there. Now, what's especially nice about ProQuest, though, is you can do a publication search. And what's nice about them is, we talked about cranes earlier. If I search cranes and I specifically say in title, or I could also just navigate through all this stuff alphabetically, but there's a lot here. There's 11,000 publications, but hey, all the more power to you. You have access to now 11,000 publications that you wouldn't have had access to without your library card. I'm just gonna click search. Here's Crane Chicago Business. Full text coverage from 96 to today, citation abstract from 96 to today with some exceptions. And here's Crane's Cleveland Business. So we saw that earlier in the EBSCO database. They didn't have access to this article, but as a library, but through this other resource, we do. So really look through all of our journal databases and you may be surprised by what you might find. I'm just gonna click, just to show you what it looks like to actually look in one of these. I can click Crane Chicago Business. Again, it tells you again about the coverages involved, but what's really nice is again, when we go down here, we can look at how we want to navigate issues. So it's not on the right-hand side like it was with EBSCO. It's here right in front of us. I can choose the year, I can choose the month, I can choose the volume. Again, a lot of good stuff here. I can click view issue if I just want to view the issue, which that's right where we were. So basically, if I change one of these options, I then need to click view issue in order to see it. It's not going to dynamically change on me. Click view issue. But again, a lot of really good full text articles here. So Fortune reels and deals as COVID roils water, seafood distributor aims for 1 billion in revenue. So, there's clearly things are not bad for certain industries in the pandemic world. But again, just a really good Crane Chicago Business is a good one to look through. To mention another one that we have here in print at the library, although you can't check it out, would be Advertising Age. I believe that's here. Yeah, Advertising Age Chicago. Again, in this case, they have citation coverage from 1971 to the present, meaning you could find, that an article existed from 71 on. But as far as full text goes, they only have that from November 1999 to present. But again, a really good article. Really good, again, another Chicago specific resource. You could just, type in Chicago up here as well if you wanted to. See any resource that covers Chicago, like Chicago Daily Tribune, Chicago Tribune. Again, this is not limiting these databases by what we'd selected earlier. That's because we chose publications, but a lot of good stuff here. Now in this case, Chicago is always the first letter. So so you may need to try different searches. For example, we did Cranes Chicago, but anyway, so the final one I'll show that we have access to in this resource, not Washington, we have access to the Wall Street Journal. So we got access to the Wall Street Journal with full text coverage from 1984 to today. So if you want to read the full street article, current issue of the Wall Street Journal, click this. You can search within the publication if you wanted it to, which should be, I believe, search across all the issues, which is really helpful for you to do. But then current articles, big firms crowd into market for houses, driving up prices. I've certainly heard a bunch about that because I got family that lives in some places where this is definitely happening. But again, a lot of really good articles here for you to look at and read. I know this looks like it's a scan of the Wall Street Journal and that's what you should be able to see, but as you can see here, full text. Occasionally you might find some older magazines where they might also have PDF full text options. But again, for most of what ABI Inform is, it's full text, but hey, it's still a great resource for you to be able to read just the article, even if the graphics and the tables may not be there. Again, a wealth of information for you to be able to read, again, anywhere with an internet connection. For example, like I said, we have the Wall Street Journal in the library, which you're welcome to make photocopies of, but it doesn't circulate. Again, we currently have no tables available for you to read it in the library, which again is why you would want to read this digitally. That's really all I had to say about ProQuest. Again, a wealth of information here. Click basic search to go back to where we were. Now, because of the navigation I did, I lost it. I was just in the ABI informed part of it, but again, it's there. Just doing a general search, but again, I'm just going to do entrepreneur again, just to briefly reiterate again. Like I said, 1 million results. Choose the advanced search to limit your options if you want to, or again, just filter it based on the categories on the left. So I'm going to go back again to cslibrary.org/business. We're slowly winding down here. Those are the major ones I wanted to cover. The next one I wanted to show you is actually not here under business and company information. I'm going to click Alpha List to get to it really quickly. And that is all the way down here in the L's, which is the Legal Information Reference Center. This is another EBSCO product, and the last one I'll be showing you today. You would want to use the Legal Information Resource Center for business information specifically related to legal issues. So that's why they got businesses and corporations here, but they also have patents, copyrights, and trademarks. Again, we'd seen that earlier in the Small Business Reference Center, and I'm not saying don't read the NOLO guide in that regard or those articles, but just know if you really have like legal specific information, of course, try the Small Business Reference Center, but also try the Legal Information Resource Center as well. I'm just going to click on business and corporations. And again, information here about, of all sorts, business accounting and audits, human resources, making a profit. Again, a lot of this, was cross-referenced in the Small Business Reference Center. Also, again, I know I'm in the EBSCO product. Again, always go down here at the bottom and see if it says EBSCO or not. But again, the layout also gives it away. But, I'm just going to click sales and marketing, for instance. Talks about public domain, getting permission from again, legal standpoint of, if you're using and also a good one, profit from your idea. So intellectual property. Again, this is from a book, Profit from Your Idea, written in August 2020, PDF full text. But again, here's the article. Again, if you click this one at the top, and this is what you see, again, navigate to the left and click PDF full text to see the full text article. This came out of another NOLO guide. And then you can, again, browse publications if you want to, so on and so forth. And again, that's what I would, and again, I would recommend the Legal Information Reference Center if you're specifically looking for legal information on a particular topic. And then also some legal forms over here on the right by US state. That's all I really have to say about this one. I'm not going to go too much in depth about it again, because navigation and finding stuff, again, here's more NOLO guides at the bottom. I mean, this all looks very identical to the Small Business Reference Center, owing again to, if you're able to navigate one of these EBSCO products, what you learn in one of them is largely going to translate to the rest. So again, this is the Legal Information Reference Center. Again, I'm going to navigate back to the business sources. And here it's just nothing but small stuff at this point. I'll call your attention to Record Information Services. What Record Information Services is, it's got a little good stuff on incorporations and things along those lines. I am just going to pause my share at a moment because I'm going to put in my library, add my library name as well as my library card number to show you some of which is right here. I'm going to log in. I'm going to, now I'll just resume my sharing. So they've got a bit of different databases here. They've got bankruptcy databases. What might be helpful for you is maybe looking through any recent incorporations if you wanted to. Real estate transactions is here. Also, and building code violations is also here. So if you are thinking about moving into a new location and you want to know, if you want to, again, do your due diligence, you can see if there are any building code violations for your area. But I'm just going to click incorporations because a lot of these search databases look the same. So for starters, it's broken up by county. I'm just going to go down to the page. And when I go and do that, it gives me a list of different search terms. It starts with April. It starts for this month. I could go back even further if I wanted to. I could limit it by zip code if I wanted to, just specifically to Carroll Stream, which I just navigate to 60188 and click that. but again, I'm not going to because there may not be any records here in only 4 days. But again, you've got, again, a variety of other records here, but I'm not going to really change any of this. I could also limit it by city too. So I could say, again, Carroll Stream, if I'm specifically looking for Carroll Stream. But again, I'm just going to click Find Data. Then it gives me a list of what fields I'm looking for. I could uncheck ones I don't want, or I could check ones that I do want. I guess for anonymity's sake, I'm going to uncheck last name. Now, just because all of this is here doesn't mean you're necessarily going to see it in the record itself. But again, it's just again, something to be aware of. I'm just going to hide the name. We'll see what happens when I click this, because so far I've only done searches with all that information checked, but this should be good. All right. All right. So yeah, so here's some information about it. There's a company called Rob's Transportation Inc. This was the file date, but they must have been incorporated again in April. They're located out in Bensonville. And again, just all-inclusive purpose is the name of the description. There's also the incorporator name as well, as opposed to the person's name. But again, this is just one record here. They've also got nearby records as well for different companies. That I believe if you click any of these, you should be able to get to it, but to this particular industry. And again, there's a map of where this person is located, or I mean their company. If I want to navigate to the next page, I just click page 2. Here's another one, DZ Enterprises. Again, not a lot of information here, but again, a good way of looking up incorporations if you want to. And again, the other databases are very similar. Which again, this is record 2 of 12. Again, I can click last, go to the very end, or just navigate through each one, or I could even start a new search. I could also print this if I wanted to. I can save it as a PDF or just print it. Print all records is limited to 1,000 records, in which case there's only 12, so that shouldn't be an issue. But again, just, again, options here. Again, I'm not going to, like I said, this is all I really have to say about this. I encourage you to explore this on your own time. If you run any navigation issues, just give us a call. We'll see what we can do about trying to get you through them. And then what are the final ones I'm going to talk about? For starter, one of the last ones I'm going to show you is Lynda.com, which is right here. I covered Lynda.com more in the continuing education resources job search club I actually did last month. It's part of the, so that was at the very end of that video. First, I talked about Learning Express, and then I talked about Lynda.com. So I'd encourage you to watch that video if you want. The one thing that changed though, from that video to this one is Lynda.com. Now it all asks you for when you log in is to put in your library card and your PIN number. So now you no longer need the password to come up with the password. So that's really helpful, because now you don't have to worry about resetting your password anymore. We can just reset your PIN for you here at the library, and that makes things a lot more streamlined. Now you don't have to contact Lynda to get your account again if you've forgotten your password. Now it's just your PIN. I'm not going to log in, but I'm just going to go up here to the search bar and type in starting a business. And they have these are video tutorials for you to view. So they've got this whole courses that you can watch. You click starting a business, and they got some good stuff here. You really need to log in order to view the thing, but I'd say, yeah, you can start with this playlist to view through the 4 courses. You can also navigate through some of the other videos, like they've got Start a Business Online, Starting a Business with Family Friends. Another good one if you're just thinking about starting down the road of entrepreneurship, 20 questions to help you start a business. Again, you can search for all this later on your own time. And again, if you really want a more in-depth video on how to actually use Lynda.com, you can either watch the video that I did, or you can just type in, I believe it's using Lynda. I can't remember what the search term is off the top of my head, but if you watch the video that I did on how to use Lynda, they also have a video as well specifically on how to use this product as well. It might possibly have been under LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning is basically what Lynda is going to become very soon, because LinkedIn now owns Lynda. That's why it says Lynda.com from LinkedIn. And again, just it's video tutorials for you to watch. They've got more so than just this. They also have how to work computer programs, photography, things like that. You can also browse, for example, under the library option here. Here's all the business sources that they have. And they've even got learning paths, which are collections of videos, how to become a bookkeeper, a project manager, software you might need to know, topics you might need to know, guides. For example, you're starting a business again. Oh, sorry, I got to delete my search. But yeah, just again, just so much here for you to use. Well, it's hung up on something, but anyway, if I think if I go back here and then try it this way, this should work. Now I got to go back to the main page, start a business. All right, well, if I were to guess, I think the reason why this is not working is because I'm not logged in. If I was logged in, it would take me to where it was I needed to go, I believe. But anyway, just again, a lot of good information and resources here that, again, if you really want to learn how to use this product, please view our continuing education video as part of the Job Search Club. And then that's really all I had to really talk about. The last two I'm just not even going to access to because I'm not much of an investor. We have access to Morningstar Investment Research Center. We have also access to Value Line. Those are a good way of looking up stocks and mutual funds. So if you're thinking about going into business with another business, you know, you can certainly research it that way. And then the other one I'll talk about, the last one I'll talk about just a little bit is Reference USA. I really covered Reference USA more in how to do pre-interview research. While that was specifically geared towards job seekers, all the advice I did in that video will pertain if you are a business looking to do business with other businesses. It's just a helpful directory to look into for how to look up other businesses. It's called Reference USA, but it's also called, they've recently rebranded to Data Axle. So that's why it says you're in the right place. This was Reference USA, now it's Data Axle. Again, I'm not really going to talk about this like much at all, but basically you click US businesses. If you knew the company name, you could type it in, or if you have your own company, you could type it in, see if they have anything for you. And then you can click, but the meat of it is in the advanced search option. You can choose any of these checkmark boxes on the left-hand side, and it will populate boxes in the center. And then you can whittle down their 15 million results to a lot fewer based on what you're looking for. So for example, you could search by an industry group if you wanted to, or if you knew the SIC code or NAICS code, you could put that in. Or you could, and then there's also geographic things. You could just say, you know, you just want like Carol Stream, for instance. Sorry, that's all the way down here. You say you just want Carol Stream. Here's Carol Stream, click Carol Stream, then I update my count. They've got 1,500 results in Carol Stream, and that's without even limiting my results. To make these center boxes go away, with the exception of the top one, just uncheck these checkmark boxes, and then you'll just click View Results to see what they have for you. And then here's a list of businesses in Carol Stream. You can click on one to view the record, and then just see what they have to tell you about it. And again, please view the pre-interview research video that we have, because I went a lot more into Reference USA than I will be doing today. So again, just to recap, cslibrary.org/business is really where you want to direct your browser to, or against learn all topics. And then you can either scroll down to business and company information, or you can click where it says topics and then click business and company information. I'd really say do that. Go to cslibrary.org and go to business and company information, because that way, you saw when I was going from database to database, I kept having to navigate back to the learn page. That's really, again, why it's helpful just have it be its own page. That way you don't have to constantly, that way you're not kicked back to the main database listings. Again, that's just my suggestion. But again, there's a lot here. I covered ABI Inform. I covered Business Source Premier, covered Gale Virtual Reference Library, talked a little bit about lynda.com, just briefly spoke on Morningstar, Record information services, make sure when you're at home, you're clicking the remote access option and not the in-library use option to get access to the information when you're outside the library. Talked a little bit about Reference USA, talked about the Small Business Reference Center quite a lot. And then I talked about Value Line a little bit. And the last one, which isn't here, I found under the alpha list, was the Legal Information Resource Center. So again, we got a wealth of information for entrepreneurs out there. Again, if you're thinking about getting started or if you've already started your business, I really encourage you, please use these resources. Again, you can apply for a digital library card if you don't have one to access these without having to come into the library to get your library card. But if you want access to our print materials, of which we have a variety of print materials of all topics like project management, all the NOLO guides, how to run a business, how to run meetings, you name it. I'd really say, you can please use our print resources. We also have access to, we also do curbside pickup, as it says right here. Curbside just means you place your holds, and when you pull up to one of the two spots directly in front of the building, you just text us that you're here, and we'll bring it out. It's totally contactless curbside delivery. So yeah, the sky's the limit. Please use these resources. If you have any questions about using them or you're running into any navigation issues, please go ahead and contact us. And this will be the last job search club, and for now. We'll probably start them up again once the summer is over. But again, the sky's the limit. And thank you everybody for coming out here today. And I'll see you all later. Bye.